Have you ever thought about changing the picture that is mapped out on the walls of your life? Perhaps the secret to the life of your dreams is hidden in some unfinished drawer at home. Yes, just a simple drawer. I'm not joking. This drawer, along with other things that are entangled in the whirlpool of your daily life, is becoming an obstacle to your success. If these things were to get out of your way, you could reach for the sky. But unfortunately, they have been with you for so long that you have started to ignore them. Have you ever felt that everything is in your hands yet progress is not happening? An unknown but palpable force is holding you back. Although you know what needs to be done, this issue is one that many people face. Many come to me saying, I have a dream, a plan, but for some reason, I can't get started. And my response is, you are trapped in an internal prison, and the worst part is that you know it, you feel it, but you can't find a way out. This is devastating. I have seen such brilliant individuals whose ideas could change not only their lives but the entire world, yet they remain stuck. They are not lazy, they are not incompetent or weak, rather, they are constricted. I was in a similar situation years ago. I was known, achieving good results, had good relationships, yet I was postponing a crucial decision. I wanted to grow my business and open a new branch, but every time I thought about it, I felt pressure in my chest, like something bad was about to happen. I told myself, not now. Wait a bit longer. But I knew that it was my old mental framework trying to prevent me from changing. Inside you is a force that works against your progress. It doesn't scream, but it whispers, what if it doesn't work? What if there's a loss? What if people laugh at you? And you accept this. Now a straightforward question, how many times has a brilliant idea come to you, and you let it slip away? How many times have you seen someone else doing what you had conceived and thought, that was my idea? This is not a coincidence, this is a pattern. It is your inner system that is quietly causing you harm. A study by the Harvard Business Review shows that 70% of people abandon their great ideas within 24 hours. Why? Because they are trapped in a mental framework created by their past failures. They lack self-confidence due to their parents' failures and the old school system. And if this is happening to you, understand that you are now programmed. And programming can be changed. But only if you want it. Only if you decide to rise and work despite the fears. In one of my seminars, I asked everyone to stand up. Some got up immediately, others just watched. I saw the stress on their faces. They wanted to stand, but they were stuck. Not because of me. Not because of their chairs. Rather due to the fear of laughing, of being proven wrong, of feeling inadequate. Then some told me, I really wanted to stand up, but something held me back. I replied, you have just now uncovered what is hindering your progress in every area of life. That is the force we must fight against. And you fight it through action. Even a small action, just to do something. You do not need permission to change your life. You need a decision. Clear, strong, non-negotiable. Today, you have been living the same mundane life for years. Perhaps in a job you don't like. Perhaps drowning in debts. Perhaps in a relationship that tires you out. And still, you carry on. Because now, it is not what you want, but you are stuck. I am here to remind you. This can end today. But only if you acknowledge that you are stuck. And only if you have the courage to stand up. Because after all, you know what to do. You just need a nudge. And maybe this is the nudge you have been waiting for. What is blocking you today may not be something you can see or touch. It's something inside you that has been controlling you for years, unbeknownst to you. I'm talking about paradigms. This silent enemy affects your decisions, your attitudes, your income, your health, and your relationships. When you try to change your life, you start with enthusiasm, take the first steps, and suddenly it seems like everything falls apart. You feel like you are being dragged back to the same spot. This is not bad luck. This is not coincidence. This is your paradigm working silently. A paradigm is a collection of beliefs and habits that is ingrained in your mind and operates like autopilot. It has been programmed since childhood based on what you have seen, heard, and experienced. And the most dangerous part is that it will always keep you where you are. Whether you are unhappy, whether your life is far from your desires, have you noticed that some people always return to similar types of relationships? Some earn money, and shortly afterward lose everything. Some excitingly start new things but abandon them for no reason. These are all paradigms. This is what sabotages your opportunities. This is what makes excuses for you. This is what convinces you that now is not the time, you are not ready yet, it's better to wait, and you believe it. And as long as you continue believing, you remain stuck. In a transcript of one of my speeches, there is a quotation where I talk about how, after standing up to decide, many people sit down again. Then some told me, I really wanted to stand up, but something held me back. I replied, you have just now uncovered what is hindering your progress in every area of life. That is the force we must fight against. And you fight it through action. Even a small action, just to do something. You do not need permission to change your life. You need a decision. Clear, strong, non-negotiable. Today, you have been living the same mundane life for years. Perhaps in a job you don't like. Perhaps drowning in debts. Perhaps in a relationship that tires you out. And still, you carry on. Because now, it is not what you want, but you are stuck. I am here to remind you. This can end today. But only if you acknowledge that you are stuck. And only if you have the courage to stand up. Because after all, you know what to do. You just need a nudge. And maybe this is the nudge you have been waiting for. What is blocking you today may not be something you can see or touch. It's something inside you that has been controlling you for years, unbeknownst to you. I'm talking about paradigms. This silent enemy affects your decisions, your attitudes, your income, your health, and your relationships. When you try to change your life, you start with enthusiasm, take the first steps, and suddenly it seems like everything falls apart. You feel like you are being dragged back to the same spot. This is not bad luck. This is not coincidence. This is your paradigm working silently. A paradigm is a collection of beliefs and habits that is ingrained in your mind and operates like autopilot. It has been programmed since childhood based on what you have seen, heard, and experienced. And the most dangerous part is that it will always keep you where you are. Whether you are unhappy, whether your life is far from your desires, have you noticed that some people always return to similar types of relationships? Some earn money, and shortly afterward lose everything. Some excitingly start new things but abandon them for no reason. These are all paradigms. This is what sabotages your opportunities. This is what makes excuses for you. This is what convinces you that now is not the time, you are not ready yet, it's better to wait, and you believe it. And as long as you continue believing, you remain stuck. In a transcript of one of my speeches, there is a quotation where I talk about how, after standing up to decide, many people sit down again. The paradigm regains control, and that is what happens. You become motivated, take a step, and then get pulled back. How many times has this happened to you? Science confirms this. A study from the University of Southern California found that the brain always searches for familiar paths when under pressure or in uncertain situations. Meaning, even if change is better, if it's unknown, your brain will resist it. It will try to protect you even if it means keeping you in a life you dislike. Just as my two students, Michael and Rucky, wanted to open a dog training school, PP Academy. They had the passion and knowledge planned out. But they were constrained. For months, they kept saying they would do it, that they were almost ready. But time passed, and nothing changed. Until one day, after much internal work, they decided, we will do it, even if we're scared, and they did. Today, PP Academy is successful. But this only happened because they broke the cycle of their paradigm. You may still be caught up in this cycle. You might be living a reality that is no longer yours. But you hold on to it because it is familiar. And what is familiar feels safe, even if it is destroying you inside. That is why change is often frightening. Because your paradigm is at odds with the new. You want to grow, but your mind wants to keep you safe. And this creates stress and anxiety. And you interpret this anxiety as a signal not to act. But in reality, It is a sign that you are about to break a pattern. In this situation, anxiety is not a sign of danger. It is the birth of a new identity. It is your old self trying to fight against the new. And that is where you need to insist. Buckminster Fuller said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete," and he was right. You need to create your new picture. You need to see yourself differently, think differently, work differently. Even if it feels strange at first. The first time I made a decision that completely contradicted my paradigm, I was drenched in sweat. This was when I left my solid job to start teaching personal development. My family thought I had gone crazy. I thought so too, but I knew deep down that if I did not face it now, I would regret it for the rest of my life. It was terrifying, it was anxiety-inducing, but it was a path to freedom, and then everything started to change. You need to understand that clashing with paradigms is not easy. It is not quick, it is not automatic, but it is necessary. And this only happens when you command yourself to act and follow through. Whether it's frightening, whether there is doubt, whether no one understands, your next step is on the other side of your paradigm, and the only thing between you is your decision to act. It doesn't matter how long you have been stuck, what matters is what you will do now. Many people think they are learning simply because they are hearing, seeing, or reading something. But let me share a truth that might pain you. This isn't learning, it's merely collecting information. And if information were enough, libraries would be billionaires. Real learning is something else. It occurs when you hear an idea, emotionally engage with it, decide to act, and then take action. Without action, there is no education. You just memorize the information, and it remains just that. Most people are accustomed to consuming, but they fear applying it. I call this stagnant intelligence. People know a lot but change very little. I used to be the same way. In my early years in personal development, I would read everything I came across, watch lectures, take notes, but I didn't change my reality. Why? Because I didn't apply it. And my epiphany came one day when a mentor looked at me and said, "You're deceiving yourself. You're not learning, you're just shifting attention from information." This hit me like a punch. It was painful, it was embarrassing, but it was real. And from that day forward, I made it a principle for my life: if I do not act on what I learn within 24 hours, I will discard that information. If it doesn't lead to action, it has no value. You may be living the same life right now. How many books have you read this year? How many videos have you watched? How many new attitudes have you adopted based on those? Because here's the answer: it doesn't matter how much you know, what matters is what you do with it. The University of Chicago conducted research showing that the mind only strengthens knowledge when there's repetition and practice. In other words, what you don't use, you forget, and worse, when you consume too much information without acting, you create the illusion of progress. You feel like you are evolving, but you are actually stuck. Learning requires action, anxiety, effort, and mistakes. You do not need to get it right on the first try, but you need to start. And do you know what the biggest issue is? Most people connect action with immediate results, and when the results don't come quickly, they stop. But real knowledge exists in action. It is what you discover about yourself when you try. In one of my trainings, I met a boy named Steven. He always came to me with new ideas, excellent creative actionable thoughts, but he never acted on any of them. Every week brought a new excuse. Until one day I said, "Steven, what's holding you back is not the idea, but the fear of failure." He was silent for a moment, then he understood. The next week, he acted on the idea, even if it was through the lens of fear. And the outcome wasn't perfect, but it was real, and it marked a powerful change in his life. No need to convince yourself. You need courage. With every step, you learn more. And with each new education, you open a new version of yourself. Life molds you as you move forward. Your body transforms as you exercise. Your finances transform as you work. Your world transforms as you take action. So stop hiding behind books, videos, courses. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The right moment is when you decide to take action. And it can be now. The question is, what will you do with what you have just heard? Because if you don't act, it was just another video. And you don't need another video. You need a new life. Discipline is one of those words that many people listen to with a certain level of discomfort. Because when you hear the word discipline, your mind automatically thinks about rigidity, sacrifice, responsibilities. But let me share a truth that changed my life. Discipline is not prison. Discipline is freedom. It's the freedom through which you can live your authentic life. For me, discipline is the ability to command myself and follow through. It's looking in the mirror and saying, "Now, we will do this." And doing it without bargaining. Without excuses. Without deviation. Many people think they don't have discipline because they weren't born with it. But discipline is not a skill, it is a decision. It is practice. It is habit. And it is known and done. Most people know what to do, but they don't do it because they are waiting for desire. Let me give you some news. Desire is the least reliable thing. It comes and goes without warning. If you rely on desire to build your life, you will remain trapped for years. On the other hand, discipline is what allows you to do what you need to do, without desire. And that is its power. I remember a time when I was trying to write new material. It was not easy. Thoughts were tangled, the schedule was tight, work pressure was increasing. But I had promised myself I would complete this project by the end of the month, and I delivered. Because if I betray myself, how can I keep my promise to the world? Most people lose confidence in themselves because they make commitments they don't keep. They promise they will start a diet. They promise they will get out of debt. They promise they will study, start a business, change. But they don't follow through. And whenever that happens, something breaks inside them. A study from the University of Toronto found that people who develop small habits of discipline have greater self-confidence and a better relationship with life. Why? Because every time you fulfill the command you have given yourself, you strengthen your identity. You prove to yourself that you are trustworthy. Everything changes. Discipline is like a stone. Initially, it hurts. But over time, it becomes routine. And eventually, it becomes pleasant. Some say they can't maintain consistency. And I always ask, do you brush your teeth every day? Do you get dressed before leaving the house? Do you eat when you're hungry? Then you already have routines. You need to learn to use this to your advantage. And do you know the secret? Clarity. You need to know what you want, and want it so intensely that you will no longer accept excuses. There are many desires for change in life. But if even something as simple as getting up on time feels difficult, maybe your resolve is not strong enough. Your old mind might tell you that you can't do it. But that's just a false belief repeated so often that it becomes your current reality. In my classes, I always emphasize not to trust your first instinct. Because your current mind will scream that it's hard, it's not for you, and it won't succeed. But that is not reality. That's just the old system trying to maintain itself. I tested this method on my students, and the results were astonishing. A girl named Carol came to me due to her unfulfilled tasks. She would start work and quit, start diets and abandon them, enter into relationships and end them. The cycle was always the same. I gave her a simple task. Choose one small but important action and repeat it for 21 consecutive days. She decided she would get up at 6 every day and write down her goals. After 21 days, she had transformed. Stability emerged in her personality, her eyes shined with hope, and she had begun a new project. She said, "I never thought a simple action could change my self-identity so much, but that's the way." It's easy yet challenging. That's why so few people bring real change. It requires persistence, and persistence needs determination and a connection to your growth. Today, I invite you to do just that. Choose just one thing. Something you know you should do but have been putting off. And do it consistently for 7 days, without any excuse, without any break, without any concession. At the end of these 7 days, you will discover something extraordinary, that you can do much more than your mind thinks. And the only obstacle between your desires is that you act decisively. You already have all the abilities to completely transform your life. For more videos, updates, subscribe us.